the whole setup and the situation. If you can hear me, just let me know in the comment section below if you can hear me as well. I want to make sure I am heard. Please let me know if you can hear me. Oh, thank you for now. Okay, what a way to storm your way in. All right. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me as well. Just want to make sure my sound is good as well. Once again, welcome to the live. Welcome. Got it. Also, as Vernell stated, yes, oh, the hiring pool is open. It's going to start on the 7th. All right, I thought it was the 3rd. Okay, I guess it's the 7th. So yes, just in case you're looking to applying to become a flight attendant with Delta Airlines, as Vernell just stated in the comment section below, hiring will open. It will open on the 7th. Yes, Mohammed, welcome to the live. I will be showing my face eventually. I'm just trying to get it together here. I just recorded like 4 other videos, so it's taking a second, but welcome to the channel. Welcome to today's live. As the thumbnail or the banner is showing right now, I will be talking about some of the things that I have learned after being on the line 30 days in. Just so everybody knows, I'm already 4 months in. I'm literally in my 5th month right now. This video is definitely long overdue, but I was like, you know what? It's never too late. It's never too late. So I just wanted to come on live so we can just chit chat a little bit about some of the few things that I became aware of or became more apparent after being on the line for 30 days. So that's why we're here. Once again, once you come in, go ahead and drop a comment. No, I did not quit. I did not quit, Mohammed. We're not there yet. It might be a struggle up in these streets for some people who are especially commuting, but it's not that bad. It's not bad enough, at least for me to quit. So let's just get it together, okay? Let's get it together. All right. So that was a good one, though. You got me with that one. You got me with that one for sure. He's like, did you quit? Oh my God, that's so funny. But no, I did not quit. I did not quit. It's bad out here in these streets, but it's not that bad, okay? It is not that bad. So it is what it is, but it's not that bad out here. It's not. So while I get my camera set up, once again, go ahead and you said you got scared. Oh no, oh my God. No, that's not the intent at all. That is not the intent at all. That is definitely not the intent at all. It's just so far, I'm just here to share my experience, what I have learned so far, or some of it's more like a chit chat. And just for me to share some of the things that has like essentially become apparent ever since I got on the line, because there are certain things that you might not know or like you might take for granted and stuff like that. So that's what the whole idea is. So I didn't quit, not yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. Yes, Seattle is definitely very beautiful. I love Seattle. Seattle is definitely very, very beautiful. I enjoy my stay here in Seattle for sure. It's beautiful. It really is. It really is. So yes, as you make your way through, go ahead and hit that like button, like the video, also share the video, and then give me a second, y'all. Like, y'all know my situation. It's always like, I don't know what is happening here. Just doing the most at this point. Yes, but it's definitely, Seattle is definitely very beautiful. I'm actually really glad that I am in Seattle because it's as a base as well. As a base, it's actually been really good. It's been very easy for me to ease myself into the job for sure. So as a base, it's been great too. So I definitely enjoy my stay here in Seattle as well. So it's definitely been great. I'm enjoying it here. To me, I feel that Seattle is a really good base for new flight attendants, especially if you live here, because as a base, it's been pretty good. As a base, everybody here has been amazing. Everybody has been super helpful. So as a base, it's been really good. So if you do get the opportunity to be in Seattle, you might not like the idea, but I would say take it. As a base, it's good. It's really good for new hires because in terms of trips and stuff like that, it's like you won't get like the best destinations among other things, but you can, because of the distance and the location of the base, you have the ability to get like long haul domestic trips. So you can still make good money, especially when you're starting off as well. So it's definitely a good base for new hires for sure. That I can confidently say that it is. It is really good. All right, so now that I'm all settled, I think I got everything figured out. As usual, it starts off good, but then you never know. But let's just get right into the video. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing some of the things that have become apparent ever since I became a flight attendant, getting on the line and becoming a Seattle-based flight attendant. What has been going on so far, and some of the things that have become apparent. So once again, if you're making your way into this live, go ahead and hit that like button, give the video a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. If I'm looking at this direction, that's because that's where my screen is. So please pardon me for that. But yes, hello, your girl is here. I am on camera. Can you see me? Let me know if you can see me. Am I seen? Am I heard? Okay, so let's get into it. So 30 days in, some of the things that became apparent to me. The first thing that became apparent to me, guys, was the fact that the job is not hard. The job is not difficult. It is not difficult. The job is not difficult. I repeat. The job is not hard in the sense that I feel like training is quite effective. Training is quite effective, one, for setting us up and getting us ready for emergency and safety related issues and medical related issues as well. So you're top notch ready for that. The rest that is left with, honestly, has to do with service delivery, and that's something that you would learn as you get on the job, and the more you work, the better you get. And if you're working with a really good crew, it's easy for you to learn, because most of the time so far, the people that I've worked with have been super open and super welcoming and super ready to share their experiences with you. So you're not like on your own struggling out here in these streets or anything. So keep that in mind. So the first thing that I've definitely learned is that the job is not difficult at all. It is not. So if you're worried about that, if you're trying to become a flight attendant, you're wondering how the nature of the job is, it's not. That being said, it doesn't negate the fact that even though it's not difficult, because you're taking care of passengers, it's customer service related, it still doesn't negate the fact that you might get tired, you might get fatigued. Like, it can get tiring. So just because it's not hard doesn't mean that you don't feel the fatigue or the tiredness that comes with it, or burnt out in any way, because that takeoff and landing process can be detrimental to your body. Like, it takes a toll on your body, especially if you're doing it frequently. And that's one of the main reasons why I like being mainline, because with my airline, doing 4 legs is not the norm. Typically, the number of flights you would do per day would be about 2 or 3, maximum 3. But we do have 4 legs, but it's not like regional airlines where like 4 legs is a norm, 5 legs is a thing. With our airline, it's not. So when you're doing those multiple flights in a day, that takeoff and landing several times can take a toll on your body. So it's not hard, it's easy, but physically you might feel the stress that comes with it. The second thing that became apparent, and this was very dear to me, because initially when I was becoming a flight attendant, I thought it was part of our job, like our responsibilities, to put people's luggages in the overhead bin. I'm tall, so I have easy access to the overhead bin, but I thought it was part of the job. Like it was expected that every single passenger that got on the plane, you were there to help them put their luggages, like their carry-on bags in the overhead bin. But what became apparent was that that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Honestly, per our rules, the only time we're expected to touch anyone's luggage is if they're disabled and they're not able to do it, or they have some sort of disability that prevents them from being able to put that luggage up there, or in that moment they can't do it. But it's not required. It's not a requirement. And think about it. If we're boarding a plane of like almost 200 people, and I'm working 2 to 3 flights per day, and I have to lift every single luggage, our shoulders, our arms are going to die. Like they will be in distress. So that's one thing that became apparent right on when I got on the line, because honestly, people load their bags so heavy, and sometimes even when you decide to help them, they don't even warn you of how heavy the luggage is. And when you grab it, I've heard stories where people have hurt their arms or their shoulders or their wrist just from touching other passengers' luggage, just trying to help them put it in the overhead bin. And that's something to take note. If you are a customer, it is not the flight attendant's job to stow your luggage for you. You are responsible for your luggage. So keep that in mind. So don't because I've had situations whereby I've literally had passengers come on the plane and they expect that I am responsible for their bags. You're responsible for the items you carry onto the plane and carry off the plane. It's you. The only thing that I'm responsible for is what is on the plane and what helps me do my job. So that's something that became apparent, and it became apparent real quickly and I think it's because we've had flight attendants get injured from trying to be super helpful, and you end up hurting your shoulder or your arm. And then when you're hurt on the job, and as much as you're getting compensated, it's not the best compensation. Nobody can live off of that. So at this point, you would have other flight attendants who don't even want to risk it at all. Like it's a no-go. You can't pay them any amount to touch anyone's bag because they've been injured in the past. And it's not an expectation. It's not part of our jobs and our job responsibilities or duties. So just in case you thought it was, it's not. The only time we're expected to assist is if somebody is disabled and they can't do it. Even with that, we do have the ability to call upon somebody else who is on the flight, who is able-bodied, to help us. And it makes sense. Like I said, think about it. We're working several flights. So if we're lifting every single bag, no, cut it out. We're not here for that. And if you're a passenger and you think it's part of our duties and responsibilities, and you get somehow offended because a flight attendant did not help you lift your bag, it's not. It really isn't. You're responsible. You packed that luggage. You loaded all the stuff you loaded into that luggage. So you should be able to deal with it and handle it on your own, unless you have some sort of disability that prevents you from being able to do so. But all things being equal, it's all on you, okay? It is all on you. Hey, what's up, Shariah? Hey. Oh, I know right now. Found out about another YouTuber I know on Instagram. Oh, really? What a way for all of us to connect. That's good. So yes, as Vernell posted in the comment section below, the live comment section, the Delta will be opening the hiring poll again September 7th. So if you're looking to apply, keep an eye out. September 7th, go ahead and hit that, go through the process and apply. Don't let anything hold you back, even if you've been trying for several years. I know, because I was in training with several people that have been trying for several years, and it doesn't hurt to try again, because you never know when it's going to be your time. As I've said time and time over, just because you don't get your CJO the first attempt doesn't mean you're not good enough. So just keep trying, keep going, don't give up. All right, so today, as I said earlier in this live, I will be talking about some of the things that have become apparent ever since I got on the line 30 days in. I am not quitting. This is not a quitting video. I am not running away yet, even though apparently it sounds that way with the hidden, but that's not the case at all. We're not quitting yet. We're not there yet. The third thing that became apparent was that, as I mentioned when I was talking about the job being hard, is that it takes a toll on your body, and it takes a toll on your body, and I would advise that you take your time when you're going through that process. When I first got on the line, I did not take up any extra trips. I did not take up any extra flights. It looked so enticing, especially because you have like, your pay is good. You know, if you fly more, you're going to make really good money. And even on my last rotation, the turn that I did recently, I spoke to a senior person. They had been flying for, I think, 24 years. Or 24, 28 years. And they were sharing with me that there have been years, certain years, where they worked a good amount, like about 120, 130, 140 hours a month. And they ended up making $200,000 a year. So if you thought making $14,000 was a lot of money, well, look at that person who's making $200,000 as a flight attendant a year. So you can make good money. But when you're starting off, definitely take your time. Definitely take your time. I promise you, take your time. It's better to ease yourself into the job. That way you can do as much as you want going on down the line, because when you're new, mentally you're strained, and then physically your body is adjusting to the job and the plane and the takeoff and the altitude changes. So it is in your best interest to definitely take your time. Do not rush into it. Take your time. I promise you, it is worth the wait. Okay? It is worth the wait. The other thing, the fourth thing, honestly, that also became apparent was that flight attendants do have a lot of side hustles. If you've noticed, one of the benefits of this job, and I'm super, super, super grateful with, especially with the airline or the part of the world that I'm in, that I'm doing this job, is the fact that I get to share my experience with you all. And that alone is a side hustle. That's a way to make some additional income that might potentially support you, especially if you're somebody who's not looking to fly too much. Because some people do get this job simply because they like the flexibility of the schedule and the fact that they don't have to fly as much as if they don't want to. So a lot of flight attendants do have side hustles. They have other things that they're doing. Some are waiters, waitresses. Some have like booking, travel agency businesses that they do. So even though you're gone away from home from time to time, if you work your schedule in a way that makes sense. I've spoken to some flight attendants that are real estate agents too. They're selling houses by day or during the weekends, and then they're flying during the business days. So it's definitely doable, and a lot of people do have side hustles as well. And especially if you're working with an airline that's not paying as much as some are paying right now, that side hustle might definitely come in handy for you as well. So keep that in mind. How is it going, guys? Let me know in the comment section below if you do have any questions as well. If you're catching this live, don't forget to hit that like button, support your girl, and then also share the live, share the video, leave a comment, say hi when you come in. Don't stalk us here, okay? Drop a comment in the comment section below. For my playback team as well, if you're watching this video, thank you for supporting me. Just hit that like button, okay? Hit that like button, and hopefully you make it to the next live. I try to give an earlier notice, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. So now I just pop up and then hope that I see some of you and interact with some of you as well. And yeah, moving on from there. The fifth thing that became apparent is that the pay is good, but it can be better. It can be great if you put in the work. Like last month, for example, my goal was to work 4 days a week and get 3 days off every single week. And doing that, I worked about a total of, I believe it was 110 hours or 115 hours, I believe. Yet my income for that month, and you guys will see a video, I have a video come in on that. My income for that month was, I believe, $5,000, almost $5,600. And I did not even work a full 160 hour month. So think about it. If I had done more, I could have made more. And I am only in my first year. I'm not even PERSA qualified. I did not even work flight lead or anything, just basic flight attendant right out of training, new hire situation. So if you're willing to put in the work, you can potentially make good money with this job. And that's why people get on the line and they start doing so much, because they see the value in flying so much, because you make money. Like, you can make good money, especially with my airline. So you can make good money. The pay is good, but it can definitely be way better if you're willing to work. And once again, that's one of the benefits of being in Seattle, aside from the state being beautiful, because we all enjoy a good Seattle. Like, summer has been great on our side. I don't know about the East Coast. I don't know about the South, the East, the Northeast, whatever, but On the Pacific Northwest, we're okay. We've been good. We've been chilling on this side. We've been so good. So it's definitely worth being on this side. And I did have plans, or I will share the journey if it does happen, potentially moving over to the East Coast, but I'm kind of comfortable here. And like I said at the beginning of the live, Seattle is a good place for new flight attendants. It's a good way for you to ease yourself into the job while still making a good amount of income to sustain you. So it's worth the bargain. I have a question here. The one and only SK, did you have to get a Chinese visa since you're in Seattle? Yes. So essentially, flight attendants who are based in Seattle, Detroit, and was there somewhere else? I think it was Seattle and Detroit. That's what I remember so far. You need a Chinese visa because you do travel to China, obviously. And yes, the process, oh my God. At a point, I was ready to say thank you next. Like, I respectfully declined the offer. Like, that was the point that I got to. I got to the point where I was like, thank you, but I am going to have to decline this offer today, because it was so annoying because of the fact that they were changing their mind back and forth, back and forth. And for me, the deal breaker for me was the fact that after I got to the point where I submitted my paperwork, like your girl submitted her paperwork, I hit submit in the system, I did everything, they still brought it back to me that they changed their mind and they changed the requirement or whatever. So it was definitely very stressful. And it was in my 4th week at the time when I was learning about aircraft. And you all know, if you've been a flight attendant trainer, you know that during week 4 and 5, it's not easy. And to have to go through that Chinese visa hassle, it was not the best moment. I was not stoked about it, but I did redo it in my 4th week to my 5th week. So literally my 5th week, I was still dealing with Chinese visa issues. And once I got out of training, a month after I got out of training, I received my passport with a visa in it. So honestly, I did get to the point where I was like, you know what, thank you, I respectfully decline the offer, I am not interested, but you still have to get it. So because of the base you're assigned, especially because we do a lot of Asia trip when we do go to China on our side here in Seattle. So I eventually got it. So even if it's taking time and it's being prolonged right now, if you're at the point where they still have your passport, just brace yourself. If you are going to be offered it, it will come through. Mine came and it was pretty smooth, nothing too complicated aside from getting to the process to send my passport. That was a bit annoying and frustrating, but you will get it. It's fine. If they don't give it to you, then they don't give it to you, but it doesn't impact your position or your role as a flight attendant. It doesn't mean that if you don't get your Chinese visa, you're fired. No, it doesn't mean that. Yes, that's not what that means. But I got it. It's in my passport, so I guess it was worth the wait. And I know there's some people that did not get it while they were in training, but now you are at the point where you're required to get it. So either way, you're going to have to do it. Personally, I was happy that I did it when I did it, which is I started the process while I was in training, because for that 1 month that it took for me to get it after training was the first month of me being on the line. And personally, I was not even prepared or ready to go international or anywhere that would require my passport. And if your passport is with them, if you don't have your passport physically on you, whether you're renewing it or you're applying for a visa, you don't get assigned airport sit or airport standby. So that was good for me too. So I guess it wasn't bad after all, I guess. 664 Weird Head is saying, what is the least amount of hours you can work in a month and what is the most? So there isn't a limit. I believe the FAA requires that the airline schedules us up to, I think, 90 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I believe it's up to 90 hours. However, with regards to, there are several parts to this. It's not like clear where, you know, with a 9 to 5, you do 9 to 5, you do 160 hours a month. And then if you do anything else, it's overtime. No, for us, how it works is that it's based on the schedule value that you can potentially get scheduled for at your base. So if for me, for example, if next month, which is October, if Seattle's schedule value for that month is, let's say, 80 hours plus or minus 7 hours, which means they can potentially schedule me for up to 87 hours, or 7 hours shy of 80 hours. So that would be 73 hours, right? If that's the value, the maximum that the base is willing to schedule me for, it means on the day of schedule release, the system will schedule me up to 87 or 7 hours less of 80. So 73 hours or up to 87. And you can get anywhere in between that. That's the default setup if that's the schedule value that the base is willing to schedule flight attendants for that month. However, in terms of the maximum amount of hours that you can fly, I heard that in the past there was a cap for how many hours you could fly, but now there isn't with the airline that I work for. So as long as your schedule can absorb the trips or it can take the amount of flights that you do want to work, it's free for all. You can pick up as many trips as you want. The only thing is that, because I spoke to a flight attendant who was working, I think the maximum she had done was 140 hours in 1 month. Some do 130, some do 150. I've heard people do 160. I've heard people do 170. However, there's no limit, honestly. It's more so what your schedule can take. So if your schedule can take and you're willing to overwork yourself to that point, you can do it. But think about it this way. If you overexert yourself, you might get to the point where you might not be able to fly even the bare minimum in the month afterwards. So just be steady. With regards to the minimum that you can work required by the company, excluding whatever your base is willing to schedule you for. So your base might schedule you for, let's say, the 73 hours or the 80 hours. However, if you personally, because we can drop and give away our trips, there's a minimum that you expect. I think it's 45 hours a month, and that is to keep your benefits. So even if you don't want to fly the schedule value expectations for your base, which is probably between 70, 80, or even 85 hours, then even though you would give out your trips and give out whatever it is, swap or have people pick up your trips, you still need to work a minimum of, I believe, 45 hours to keep your benefits running for you. So it's not like people are sitting here not flying at all and still earning. Or keeping their benefits. You do need to fly a minimum of, I think, 45 hours a month, at least with my airline, to keep your benefits going as well. So keep that in mind. And that's one of the best benefits of this job, is the flexibility, knowing that I don't necessarily have to do 160 hours a month just to keep a job and to keep my benefits. All I need is 45 hours a month and I'm good to go. But being a new flight attendant, it might be hard for you to work that because you might not get assigned the best trips, and also because you're starting off from training with no pay and all that good stuff, you do need to work to sustain your lifestyle. So most new flight attendants are working more than even the minimum per base. Yeah, but there are some senior flight attendants that just do the minimum, and that's it. Yeah, and that 45 hours can literally be a 3-day trip and a 1-day trip, like the entire month, 4 days, and that's it. 4 days of flying and you've hit your minimum, at least with my base, because we have turns that are worth 10 hours. So that's 30 hours. So no, it would have to be a 2-day trip it would have to be 2 3-day trips, yes, for you to hit that minimum. So it works out that way. But yeah, it's 45 hours for sure. Yeah, 45 hours. Yes, honey, the one. All right. Renelle said, do not move to the East Coast if you can afford it. I know. Like, but New York is sounding mighty good right now. But I went there. I recently did a trip to New York, and just to look at the traffic and the parking situation and just the whole setup of the city, it was just too much. To think of the subtleness of how Seattle is. Seattle is so subtle. Everything is just straightforward. Washington State as a whole is just the simplicity of living here in Washington State. It's I can't get that anywhere. Like, I can't get that anywhere else. So I'm hearing you. I am definitely hearing you for now. Staying clear. I still don't have mine. Oh yes, trust me. You still don't have your passport. Yeah, it is a process, but honestly, it's okay. It's okay. If you ask me, it's okay. It's really not that bad. Yeah, it really isn't. Just wait. You're eventually gonna get it, but It's better to wait now and get it over and done with than to wait till later on when you're actually ready to go international or go to Europe or Paris and you don't have your passport. For me, the month that I had to wait, I was new and I wasn't really pressed on traveling outside the country or going home to Ghana, where I'm originally from. So it was good for me to do it then. But then there are people that didn't do it then that are now having to do it right now in the middle of their flight attendant life, when they're actually enjoying going to places like Paris, London, Asia, and stuff like that. So it's better to do it now. So keep waiting. You should get it eventually. Vernell said, if you're thinking about becoming a flight attendant, apply for your passport and all that stuff before you even go for training. Yes. Before you attend training, you need to have your passport in hand. And with my airline, your passport should expire within the next, I think, 30 months. So if your passport expires within the next 20 months, within the next 12 months, it's not valid for them. So you do have to get your passport ready. Don't wait till the last minute. Don't postpone it. Don't procrastinate. Like, apply immediately. Make sure, honestly, if you're an able-bodied person, you should have a passport. I know most people live in the United States and potentially have never traveled out of the United States at all, but you should have a passport just in case. Like, just in case randomly you decide to travel somewhere, like, you should have a passport. Make it a habit to get a passport. PSA announcement. PSA. Make it get a passport. I know it's expensive, it's not cheap, but have a passport. Like, get a passport, have it with you. You never know, because sometimes the opportunity or the window to apply for these jobs might just be within the spur of the moment, and because you don't have your passport, you won't be able to do so, or it might hold you back. You should have a passport. Let's get passports. Let's just take a mental note. Get a passport. Whether you want to become a flight attendant or not, you should have a passport. You should desire to at least travel out of the United States at least one time in your life, or if you are in the continent of Africa, leave your country wherever you are, whether it's in Nigeria, Lagos, Gambia, Kenya, Senegal, South Africa, wherever it is that you are, make it a point to get a passport, and make it a point to at least travel out of your area of stay at least once in your lifetime. So get that passport. Don't put it on hold. Get that passport. Moving on to some of the things that have become apparent or I have learned from being a flight attendant 30 days in. Once again, I am already 4 months in. I am literally in my 5th month. I end my 6 months probation in October. But these are some of the things that became apparent my first 30 days in. And what was the other one? If you can avoid it, do it. Commuting. If you can avoid commuting, please avoid it. Like, people, there's this perception about this job being glamorous and being pretty and nice. Like, there's some prestige that comes with being a flight attendant, even though the reality is we're busting our butts on that plane, probably wiping down some toilets here and there, you know, clean up after people, serving people here and there. But the beauty of the job is that to an extent it is glamorous, knowing that you're getting paid to travel, knowing that you're spending 24 hours in Paris, you're spending 24 hours in Amsterdam, you're spending 24 hours in Greece, Athens, or somewhere like Italy. You know, there's a beauty and some sort of prestige that comes with the job. However, we do have to remember that if you're commuting, it can alter your perception of the job or your experience of the job. People commute, and let me say this, because I know I've always said if you can avoid commuting, avoid it. But unless you're at the seniority level where commuting can be somewhat comfortable, for a new flight attendant, it is not. It is not. It can be really, really difficult and it's stressful. And I've heard and seen people stressed because imagine if you're commuting, right? And you do want to do it weekly. So essentially, if you do a 3-day trip in week 1 and you have 4 days off, you spend 1 day out of that 4-day traveling to work, and 1 day out of that 4-day traveling back home. So essentially, out of the 4 days off that you have that week, you technically only have 2 days to get yourself together, rest and get yourself together, only to get yourself together to go back to work. But if you stay at your base, like me, if I work 4 days, if I work 3 days out of the week and get 4 days off, I'm at home the 4 days. Once I land on my 3rd day of my rotation, all those 4 days are mine. I'm spending all that time at home. I don't have to fly to get to home. So that's why people say like it's hard, and if you can avoid commuting, avoid it. If you can get a crash pad, get it. I know it's not the best because you're living with so many people, but it's better than having to fly back and forth back home and all that. And sometimes your trip might cancel, it might delay, and you might end up having to stay at your base, or might not be able to get a flight back home right away. So if you have a crash pad or a place to stay, it's better. Or in addition to that, you end up spending money on hotels and even the crash pad that you're paying for. So if you can avoid commuting, I know in this industry it's hard to say because most of the time we would have like, if not 50%, almost 50%, if not more, commuting because people don't live at bases, or they don't live where their airlines have bases at. So that's one thing to consider greatly if you're planning on becoming a flight attendant. It's think about your commuting options. If you know there is a possibility that you're going to have to, like for me, if you know that there is a possibility that you're going to commute, really, really think about it really hard. Because for me, when I was going in, I knew that my airline had a base where I lived. I knew my airline had a base at New York, close to a state or an area where I can potentially, or I'm willing to move over and live, or I have friends and family there. So I know that I had options. Even when I considered Minnesota or MSP as a base, I considered it because I had friends. I had a friend there. So I know that even if I get stranded or for whatever reason I need a place to stay, I can go stay with someone. So you don't necessarily have to physically have a home there, but knowing that you have friends and family that you can stay with can also be a good option for you too. Because it's hard. Like, it's literally another job that you're not getting paid for. Like, imagine working a 3-day trip, working 6 to 7 flights, only to land at 8 p.m. to get on another flight to fly 5 hours back home. You're a passenger, but it's still taking a toll on your body. So keep that in mind. The one and only SK says, no, I already read that. Brandy Janae says commuting is hard and stressful. It is, and I hear you, Brandy. It really is. Like, people have been struggling, and I think that was one of the reasons why with my airline, even though we had a date in the year or a specific time period in the year where we do like big, huge base transfers where bases are open up for people to transfer in and out to and from, we did it earlier because we had an influx of new hires coming in. And then because we had an influx of new hires coming in, we ended up having the situation whereby people were struggling to find like places to stay and also just commuting in general. And during the summer, when the weather is bad and cancellations are the norm, it becomes harder and harder and harder. So definitely keep that in mind. If you're trying to become a flight attendant, you might have to end up commuting. Also, what is the next point? Sorry, y'all. Like, if you've been here, you know the drill. You know the drill. It's on and off. You get it when you can. You get it when you can. But either way, we're still gonna keep our positive energy going and keep it flowing. Okay. The other thing also is that I learned 30 days in is not everyone you work with will like you or gel well with you. That's critical, because I've heard some really bad stories, and in as much as for me, I've been grateful to work with some really good people that I work well with. Personally, for me, I'm very easy to work with. I just go with the flow, you know? So I'm not really like looking out for people, or I don't come off being defensive. Yes. So I go with an open mind, open heart, ready to take everything and anybody in. So it's been easy for me to just adapt and just work my way into the job. Plus I listen and I take feedback really well. So maybe that's been a strong point for me. But I've had people complain about working with people that they did not want to work with. So not everybody will like you. You won't like everybody either. And you might work with one person and decide never to work with that person ever again. But one of the benefits of doing this job is that you're able to do so. So It's not far from it. If you don't like somebody, you don't have to work with them. You can literally just avoid them. There are people that have like a list of people that they avoid working with. So it's a thing, and it's a true thing. And you would work with some people that you would wonder, how did you get hired? Like, how did you get past the interview process? Okay, but it's one of those things where it is what it is. All you can do, all you have control over, it's yourself and your reaction to people. And don't let anybody take you out of character. It's not worth it at all. It's too draining. You're stuck in that plane for like 6 hours, 5 hours, depending on how long the flight is, and it's not worth it being mad throughout. So definitely just let it go and just flow like jelly. Moving on, one of the other things that I did learn 30 days in is be prepared for emergencies or medicals. Like right when I got on the line, I don't know if it's because now I became a flight attendant, so I started paying more attention to news related to the industry. But we had like several slides being blown. We had emergency landings, hard landings, turbulence issues, like turbulent related issues and stuff like that, and medicals happening on plane. Like Scott was on my live the last time, and I was in the same class with Scott. He was literally like my classmate. We did several stuff together, but his case, for example, 21 days in, he had like a medicals happen. So you always have to be prepared for any emergency and medical situation. And just to put your mind at ease, I will say the training that they do offer us is super effective, that you will be ready for it. Yes, you will be ready for the medical situation. You will be ready. So don't be scared or concerned that, oh my God, how am I going to handle it? You're not by yourself. Those EMVs that you will do during training is setting you up for that teamwork aspect when it comes to dealing with those situations. And when it does happen, your training will kick in. I know people say from time to time, but it's the truth. It is definitely the truth. So keep that in mind. And when they do happen, just work with what you have. Take advantage of the resources that are available to you. So just know that you do have support as well. So it's all good. It's definitely all good. All right, so moving on from there, the other thing, what else have I learned? What else have I learned? The other thing that I learned 30 days in, y'all, once again, if you're making it to the live, drop a comment in the comment section below. Do not stalk us here. Say hello. Drop a question. Drop any feedback. If you have any experience to share, please drop it on this channel. I am here to help new flight attendants make their way or work their way through becoming flight attendants. Or if you are currently on the line, just share your experience, because there are some people who are typically on this live or do see these videos that are looking to become flight attendant and would gladly appreciate any information that you do share. Also, if you just made it to the live, go ahead and hit that like button, support the live, support the channel, hit that subscribe button also, and once again, drop a comment in the comment section below. Don't stalk us, okay? Don't stalk us. And to those of you who thought I was quitting and assumed that the heading of this video or this live meant I had quit, I didn't quit. I'm not even thinking about that right now. I'm not even thinking about quitting. It's not even under consideration. So don't even worry about that. That is not it. That's not the wavelength we're on right now. So far, it's been great for me. Like every other job, there are ups and downs. And I do have a story time that I recorded that video today that I'm gonna share eventually. But it was just funny. Like it's funny. It's funny, and it's always great to work with really good crew members. It makes a whole lot of difference. Tell you. Also, if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop it, and I would attempt to answer your question for you. Go ahead and share the video as well. Invite your friends and families to watch as well. The other thing that I also learned is take your arming and disarming of doors or procedures very seriously in the cross-check process. I don't know if cross-checking is a thing that all other airlines do, but I know with my airline, they take it very, very seriously. And I will say definitely take arming and disarming your doors very seriously. As we've all heard this year so far, we've had airlines or if airlines have had situations whereby we're blowing slides, like people are opening doors and slides that have been, or slides that were left engaged are being blown because somebody did not disarm a door and somebody did not check to make sure the door was disarmed. The way the whole job is set up is that there are cross checks at every single point of the job, right? So just as you're responsible for arming and disarming your doors, it is somebody's duty who is part of the crew. It is their duty to check to make sure that all doors are disarmed. And then in this case, if we're arming it, there is that cross-check reference or that process. And I will say we have to take those things very seriously, because you not doing that is that one thing that stands between you and somebody getting hurt or somebody dying. And I've heard stories where, like, literally you arm your door or you disarm your door, you turn to check if there are two people at that area. Let's say by the one door, the first door, for example, you go to check and you check your next person's work and they have not disarmed their door. And mind you, if they don't disarm the door and that gate agent opens the door, the slide will activate. It would blow up. And those slides are like heavy duty slides. Literally, it would blow up, push the gate agent and the jetway and the jet bridge. Like, it is a disastrous situation. So one thing that I learned 30 days in is not to take those things for granted. There's a reason why. There is a reason why when you go to training, the emphasis on training is on the disarming, the evacuation, those safety drills. There's a reasoning behind it, because people's life are at risk if it's not done correctly. So don't take it for granted. If you won't take anything seriously, take that very seriously. Okay, take it very seriously. I'm not playing. I'm not joking here. Like, I'm not. I really am not. So take that very seriously. And the other thing also, give me a quick second. Give me a quick second here. All right, okay, I got that. I was trying to find my points. I lost it. Sorry, y'all. All right, so comment section. What do we have here? It says production says, would you suggest that we go to a flight attendant school prior to joining an airline? So with the airline companies in the United States, with what I know so far, you do not have to go to flight attendant school. However, I believe it's country specific, because I wasn't training with a flight attendant who the country that she lived in required that she goes to a flight attendant school, gets a certification, and then apply to work with the airline company. So with that being said, look at the companies that you're applying to. Check the job description. Are they requiring that you must have attended flight attendant school before you apply to work with them? So that's the first thing. If you're planning on becoming a flight attendant, research all the airline companies that you potentially want to work for and check their job description or requirement area to see if they require you to attend flight attendant school before you can apply to work with them. Because the airlines that I looked into before I applied did not require that. But there are some countries that would require that. But I know that for the most part, most airlines train you, because their training, their procedure, their processes are different, and it's specific to the airline you're applying to. So most of the time, they take it upon themselves to train you and do not require you to go to flight attendant school. So just be mindful of that and check before you do, because you don't want to waste your money going to flight attendant school only to know that you didn't need it. And the other thing I will add is that you don't necessarily have to have flight attendant experience to apply to become a flight attendant. At least with some of the requirements that I checked when I was doing my research to apply, it did not require any flight attendant experience prior to applying. So just do your research. But with what I know so far, and this may be country specific. You don't have to have gone to flight attendant school to apply. 64 Beardhead says, do you know what are the most junior bases for your airline? Okay, so with my junior bases is kind of subjective in the sense that, is it junior because it doesn't have a lot of senior people there or not? But I know so far New York is junior, Boston also is junior, because with Boston I've heard that there are people with very little seniority level who are in Boston that are literally off of A days, reserve days. So I know New York is super junior. Boston is also junior as well. Seattle was senior, but I think now with the influx of the new hires that are coming in, it's getting a bit diluted. But I would say it's still super senior because number 1 is literally at our base. I think number 1, number 2, and number 3 are at our base. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So out of 27,000 people. So number 1 is at my base, and I think number 2 and 3 are at my base as well. So it is pretty senior. I'm not sure if that's true. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm still new. I'm still learning. But it is pretty senior. But honestly, look beyond that. Look beyond that when you're choosing the base too. And I do plan on possibly doing a video or recording a video where I talk about how to choose the perfect base, because for me, I wanted New York for the same reasons, because it was junior. There were going to be a lot more new hires there, and then the trips were better in terms of destinations. However, I live in Seattle. I live in Washington State. Even if I have to drive to Seattle to work at the airport, I'm still in the state. I don't have to fly to get there, and the drive is not that far. So, and then also the credit hours are worth it. So if you do have flight attendant friends, ask them about the credit at the basis that you're considering. Ask them about the credit hours of the trips, because I do Amsterdam for over 20 hours. Somebody in New York will do Amsterdam for 15 hours, I think. 15, 14, 13, I don't know, London 13, I don't know, something around that amount, but it's definitely not 20 hours. So if I'm trying to make money as a new flight attendant, not trying to fly so much, I would rather want to be in Seattle, because I know I don't have to fly a lot to make a lot of money. I don't have to fly a lot to work a lot of credit time to make a lot of money. However, if you're that flight attendant that is open to enjoying your layovers, more focused on enjoying the destinations that you're going to travel to, then New York will be perfect, because you have a diverse pool to choose from. New York is doing South America, they're doing Europe, they're doing Africa, and possibly Asia. So it's one of those things where you have to figure out what you want before you choose your base. Don't only look at the fact that it's, because even if Seattle is senior, I'm still able to work good domestic trips that are worth my time. Like last month, all the domestic trips that I did were worth 20 hours or more, and they were domestic trips. So it's one of those things where you should really look at the monetary factor, because you have to sustain your lifestyle, and the only way you can do that is if you're earning a good buck. So just look into it. But I haven't done enough research to know, like, oh, this is super junior, this is super senior. I know Orlando, for example, is super senior. That I know, like, I hear is very, very senior. But New York, Boston is pretty junior. So if you're looking for a junior base, you might want to consider that. I'm not sure about Detroit, LA, and then MSP. MSP is pretty junior too, I think. Yeah, MSP is pretty junior. So definitely consider that. All right, moving on. I have like 3 more points to go, and then we should be wrapping up eventually. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and drop in the comment section below so you don't miss out. The other thing also is that give the video a thumbs up. If you're now joining us, don't stalk us. Don't be a stalker. Don't be here stalking us. Just join the live by dropping a question, okay? Drop a question in the comment section. Say hi, say hello, okay? Moving on. All right, so the next thing is, yes, I was talking about arming and disarming doors. Take it seriously. Please take it serious. My 30 days in, I had something happen that literally made it apparent. It made it very clear why we have to cross-check ourselves and others. Like, don't be passive when it comes to that point. It's very critical, because, like, it was crazy to literally turn around to go check to see if a door was disarmed, only to see that it was not disarmed. It was still armed. And it's the door that the gate agent is going to open. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, this can't be real. It can't, this is not real. It is not real. I refuse to believe it. It's not real. That's how critical it was. And I was like, no, there's a camera somewhere. Somebody is watching me. I'm being tested. Is this a test? Like, what the hell is going on? So it was so scary and it was crazy. So take those things very important. There's a reason why we do those things. There's a reason why we do those things. So please take it very, very seriously. You don't want to end up doing something that would end up taking someone's life simply because you were being complicit. So take it seriously. All right, so the next thing that I have 2 more to go, is that you might not enjoy all your layovers and crew members might not be willing to go out and have fun with you. It is not a requirement to go out and have fun on your layovers. Personally, I use my layovers to rest most of the time, but you might not always enjoy your layovers. You might not, some of the trips that might pay you well might be the trips that don't have the best layovers. So, but then open yourself up to the possibility, of the experience being good or bad, because it is what it is. At the end of the day, aside from all the benefits of this job, it's still a job. So if it gets to the point where you're not getting the layover that you want, just know that at least you have a job that's paying you well. So don't expect to have the best or fantastic layovers and all that. Like, people who go to those beautiful exotic destinations work to get it. Like, they put in the effort to get it. So don't think it's just rosy out here in these streets, especially when you're a new flight attendant. It's not always available to you. You have to put in the work to get those nice destinations, and you might not always enjoy it, and your crew members might not always be willing to go out with you. So sometimes you have to do things by yourself and on your own. So get ready to become very independent if you already aren't. And the last and final thing that I learned 30 days in was that you make your schedule, you work your schedule. Once again, I'm going to refer to last month in August. When I put in the effort to move things around, I was able to work 4 days out of the week and get 3 days off. And I worked consistently between, I believe it was between Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those were the days that I was working. So it was either Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for that week, or it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I got 3 days off every single week, including my reserve days and all. So, but I had to do it. I had to put in the work. I had to use my swap board. I had to use our open time. So you have to be willing to learn on how to work your schedule. Nobody's going to do it. Well, they would help you. You have mentors and schedule specialists that would help you, but you have to put in the effort to learn how to work your schedule, because that in the long run would influence the quality of life that you get with this job. And like I said, it's fun, it's good, but if you don't have things set in place to make it easy for you to enjoy the job, you won't enjoy it. For example, if you're not able to bid properly, or you're not bidding in a way that sets you up for success down the line, then you might end up not enjoying the job, because you're not getting the trips you want. You don't have enough room on your schedule to pick up the trips that you want. So you have to put in the effort to learn your work rules, understand how to work your schedule, and ask questions. Like, ask the schedule specialist, send them emails, like, do whatever you can to make sure that you are set up for success when it comes to this job, because that's the only way you will enjoy it as well. All right, so I am at the end of my list. Those were some of the 30 things that became apparent when I became a flight attendant, or once I joined the line. And once again, so far it's been great. I know the title of this video or this live sounded like I quit or something, but I did not quit. Disclaimer, I did not quit. I'm still here. We're still here, but it's been great. It's been a good experience. Obviously, there have been some difficulties here and there, but I do learn as I go, and I'm very open to the experience. So I'm not being picky about my experiences. And I've heard like horror stories, people, new flight attendants having really bad experiences as well. So it's not always going to be rosy. It's not always going to be perfect, but you do have to open yourself up and be willing to compromise in a way. But don't compromise for safety though. Do not ever compromise for safety. If you turn around to cross-check a door that is not armed and is supposed to be armed, call out, like, fix it, do whatever you need to do. That's why the whole cross-checking process is there. If that door is supposed to be disarmed and it's not, and you're cross-checking and you still see that it's armed, go down. If it's a 737, get your knees together, go down and disarm that door. Like, don't take those things for granted. That's why we're on that plane. Sometimes it's turbulence and we can't even do service. So if we were only there to serve, then it means we didn't do our job. But that's not the core reason why you're on that plane. You're on that plane for safety reasons, for arming, disarming doors, making sure that in case of any emergency, you're ready and able and willing, and not willing because you already signed up for it, but you're ready to help, to work, to put your training to work. So keep that in mind. The other thing is that, we have Haribo. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Hi, thanks for the information. You're welcome. Can I know what is the starting hourly rate? Do I need to know how to swim for being a flight attendant? So first of all, thank you. Yes, I'm glad you're enjoying the information and you're finding it very useful. The hourly rate with my airline, I believe, is at $33.81. And so far, with what I know, my airline is paying the highest right now, which is a $33.81. Other airlines, I think American is at 30 something as well. American is either at 32 or 30, somewhere around the 30s, but American is pretty good too. And then, but so far with what I know, my airline is paying the highest for a mainline flight attendant. Regionals pay way less. So yes, it's $33.81 right now. With what I know, with the information that I have right now, my airline is paying the highest amount right now. And then you don't need to know how to swim. Honestly, I know this might sound very pessimistic and all, but if you end up in the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, in the middle of the ocean, there's so many other elements out there that would kill you. You not knowing how to swim is not one of them. Or it's far from being one of them. So the whole idea, I know in the past flight attendants had to know how to swim, but there are going to be life jackets that you're going to wear. And it is, if you want to learn how to swim, it's good. It's a good thing to learn. I started learning how to swim. I just didn't finish it, but I can move in water, yes, and not drown, yes, but I wouldn't even want to be swimming in the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean or whatever ocean. Like, I barely want to get in a pool. So it's one of those things where it's not required. Like, it's not part of the requirements to become a flight attendant. You don't have to know how to swim. You don't. It is not a requirement. And when it comes to the training and when you go into the water, the whole idea is for you to be able to get people onto the slides and do what you need to do to get everybody together out of the water or hold on to something and all that. But you're going to have on life jackets. That's why we have life jackets on all the planes. So you will be floating either way. So you're not required to know how to swim. However, if you do have the ability to swim, it's a plus for you. But I don't think you're going to be swimming to the coast of New York if you end up in the Atlantic Ocean or wherever. So it's one of those things where it's not required. But if you do know how to swim, hey, it's a good deal. But I'm not sure. With my airline, it's not. But maybe some airlines outside of the United States might require you to know how to swim. But with my airline, it's not a requirement. It's not part of the job requirements at all. I hope that answers your question too. The one and only SK, 2 quick questions. Where did you get your luggage, and have you thought about doing a vlog on meal prep? Yes, so luggage. I got my luggage from Travel Pro, and with my airline, we get a discount if you go through the portal. So if you work with my airline, there's a portal where you go to, and it gives you access to all these companies that are offering us discounts. So with the discount and everything, I think it came to about, it was Travel Pro. The carry-on, the one that I got the expandable one, and it came, I didn't get the 4-wheel, I got the 2-wheel because it looked more durable to me. But I've heard that the 4-wheel from Travel Pro is equally good. So if you want the push one, the 4-wheel one, go ahead and get that. I heard it's good, but personally I wanted the 2-wheel because it looked more durable and it looked like it would last much longer time for me, and it was bigger, it had more room in it. So it came to about over $200. But I did get Travel Pro, but I didn't get it immediately. I think I got it 1 month after being on the line because I already had a all black luggage carry-on that I could use. So I did get Travel Pro, and I got it through our portal. So when you use a link through the portal, you get that discount for being an employee of my airline. And meal prep, yes, I do have a vlog where I shared a little bit of what I sent. But with the meals that I cook, because I'm not originally from the United States, I have other meals that I cook that are native to my country. So I can't necessarily tell you eat this or eat that, but I do definitely plan on doing a video where I talk about some of the meal options that you can put together or combinations that you can do, or some of the meal types that you should have to help you health wise to stay healthy, like yogurt, having some oats or peanut butter, like those kind of things, just to keep you going. But I do plan on doing a video about that. It's just taking more time because I'm still trying to figure out how best to do it to make it as general as possible so it can relate to everybody and not necessarily to somebody, for example, who's from Ghana or who eats the food that I eat, because I don't generally eat a lot. So my meals are usually very small. The ones that I take when I travel are very small, you know? So I do plan on doing that for sure. The other thing also is that when it comes to meal prepping, typically the basic thing I can say is that if I'm going on a 3-day, I take 2 dinners and 2 breakfasts. So I take a dinner, so when I get to my first layover destination, I can eat that dinner. And then when I get up in the morning to work the next flight on day 2, I have breakfast as well. And then when I get to my second layover destination on day 2, at night, I have dinner that I take. And then when I wake up on the 3rd day, which is the go home day at my layover day, when I wake up in the morning to work that flight back home to base, I have breakfast as well. So those are the basic things. I take 2 dinners for 3-day trips and 2 breakfasts for 3-day trips as well, plus snacks and other fruits and stuff like that. And then I do carry my own beverage as well. Even though we do have beverages on the aircraft, I don't rely on that because I might end up starting a trip from Seattle to somewhere and not make it to where I'm supposed to go and get stuck there. So I need to make sure I always have beverages and water and whatever I can, everything, the whole shebang, ready to go. So I do that. And then for 2-day trips, I usually pack a breakfast and a dinner, and then I take snacks as well, 1 of each, because I'm only spending 1 night away from the house. But yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, for meals, that's what I typically do. But in terms of what to cook or what to consider, I would definitely do a video where I give you all the information you need, something just to set you up. Because I know when you're commuting, for example, it's different, because if you're commuting to base to work, if you meal prep, it doesn't really help you, because then you have to keep it cold. If you don't have a place to keep it, it's just a lot more work for you. But I'm also trying to do more research to figure out if I can find some meal options that possibly do not require keeping cold, and that you can actually travel long periods of time with them before you have to eat them, or they're gonna go bad. Yeah, so I do plan on doing that. Definitely plan on doing that. Oh, Spirit pays $24 now. That's good. That's really good, because the last I heard they were paying like 18 or 19 or something. So 24 is not bad. 24, it's not, for being a flight attendant, it's not the best, because we spend a lot of time away from home, and $24 for me is not a good amount, in the sense that if I was earning $24, I would have to fly a lot more to make a lot more money. So I do, it's beneficial, especially if you're starting off. It's good. So it's not bad. It's better than 18, 19, 17. So it's better. Herbo says, good to know. Thanks for the information. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. The other thing also is that I know this was brought up in my last live, where somebody was asking me if it's good to start, what was it? I think their question was if it was better to, what was the question? I'm trying to remember the question. I think their question was if it was better to start off from a regional airline before moving on to a mainline airline. And to summarize and to end, or to get to the end of this live, I would say your seniority doesn't follow you. So if you start off with the original airline and you are there for 20 years, if you switch to a mainline airline, that seniority is not going to follow you. When you get to the mainline airline, like American Airline, they're not going to say, oh, because you've been a regional airline for 20 years, your seniority starts from that 20 years. It doesn't count. It counts as part of your entire career that you've been a flight attendant for over 20 years. However, in terms of the benefits that comes with being in that industry for so long, it wouldn't count if you switch airlines. So I would say some people think they want to get the experience before they move to mainline. The major difference between mainline and regional is that you're working with bigger planes. With mainline, you're working with bigger planes, more customers. Regional, you're not. Regional, you're doing shorter. I have a video on that coming up too, where I talk about the main differences between the two. But the job is still the same. Fine, you're probably doing a little bit more when it comes to mainline, but the concept of a job is the same. You're there for safety and all that. Is the concept is the same. Training, though, for mainline is a bit longer, and with mainline you're trained on more aircrafts. The concept of the job is the same. So if you can get to mainline, just do mainline right out the door. Because right now, I started off with the mainline airline. So if I'm staying there for the long haul, I'm already starting my career right there. So if you can do mainline, do mainline. There's no requirement, you're not obligated to go through regional before you go to mainline. So yeah, if you can do it, do it. Some people like regional for personal reasons, for the benefits that comes with it. So make it work. All right, so that sums it. I don't see any more questions. I do want to thank you all for joining this live today. I was able to get the camera to be more steady than usual. If you know, you know. If you've been here, you know. You know the struggles. So I do appreciate you all for coming through. Go ahead and like the video, give the video a thumbs up. Playback team, if you do show up, like the video, leave a comment. Let me know if you have any additional questions. Oh, I have another question. Do you offer special coaching sessions? Not yet, but I'm definitely considering it, because I feel that when I was going through the process of becoming a flight attendant, I wish I had somebody to not necessarily tell me what to expect, but at least set me up for success in a way by giving me all the information I need, what to expect, because I had a lot of anxiety not knowing what was going to happen next. So that was what inspired me to start this channel to begin with, and me share my journey through it. So I do plan on doing it. I'm still working on it. Right now, the only thing that I have is that I do plan that if you do become a member of my channel, I have a link on how to become a member of the channel in the description box. If you do become a member of the channel, I would potentially have like exclusive videos or lives for the members of the channel, where we actually go into like the nitty gritty, like actual real information that I possibly cannot share out here in the open like that. So that's what I plan on doing. So I do have my membership and everything set up. So if you do become a member, the whole plan is that I will have like exclusive videos where I talk about like real things. So you can actually have like personalized interactions in a way, that way. So yeah, that's what I have now, but I don't have like any other thing beyond that. But yes, the link to become a member is in the description box below. Tap on it and become a member. All right, thank you all. Thank you so much for showing up. How many hours have I done so far? I didn't even look. Let me see. How many hours have we been here? We've been here for a few. I think it's been an hour or two already. So yeah, definitely I thank you all for showing up. I thank you for coming through. It's very impromptu, and every time I do it, you all show up and support. So I do appreciate you all. As I make my way towards the exit, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment as you watch this on playback, and then also become a member by joining. And the link to that is in the description box below. Thank you all so much. Oh, you're welcome, Herman. Oh, Herman came through. You came through towards the end, Herman. It's too late. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. But thank you all for coming through. Thank you for supporting. I will see you. My goal is to do lives every week. I'm still working on trying to figure out the specific day to do it. So that's why it's always impromptu. But I do appreciate you all showing up and showing me all this love. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Once again, become a member. The link is in the description box below. And I'll see you in my next live, possibly next week. Bye-bye.